now it is unplayable.
Yeah,
almost.
I agree.
Yep. Seven Sisters.
This one's conflicting because I do like it. My initial thought is like I have a lot of fun fighting here, but I feel like it's really difficult.
It's really not good, but I kind of love it. Is how I feel about it.
It's
like,
not really great for anyone though, which makes it, I think, so fun.
Why
Nobody's
so fun,
comfortable.
Yeah, nobody except maybe Boss Slayer.
Yeah.
But everybody else is just fucked beyond belief. No matter what side you're on, it is really bad.
And not in like a horrible way, like lumber, right? Not like you're literally fucked, but just like you're gonna be uncomfortable trying to make a play and make something happen and get a pick. But it's not impossible.
You're open everywhere.
Yeah, you're open. But the people you're fighting are also very restricted on what they can peek and do without really exposing themselves. So it's like kind of this
like the
fun,
White House is like if they get on the roof, they're exposed from prison.
Yeah, from everywhere.
That whole back area. But you know, if they're in that house, they also control like through the windows, they control that whole courtyard area, and they control like out in the cornfield almost, like.
But they can only peek from 2 windows, so it's like pretty, you know,
right,
if you know they're in there.
Expose themselves on the roof, like. And in the Boss Slayer, like you can peek through that big thing, but you're exposed completely to the White House.
Yeah.
And then you're also like, you peek the back window and you're exposed completely to that field, right? Like acquiring a target there. All those little windows are easy to like crack peek through.
Yeah.
The bottom buildings are completely separated, so rotating from one to the other, you have to go up into the Boss Lair.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of leaning towards a low C.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's certainly better than Reeker and Lumber. I think it's better than Allen's for sure.
Not for me, but
you don't think so in terms of structure?
Well, no, because I have Allen's at a high C.
Oh, right.
I think I'd rather fight Hemlock.
I had my Hemlock's in B, so I would definitely rather fight Hemlock.
I think the other Lumber, like Reynard, is like lowest C for me, above the other Lumber. I think actually at this point, and Seven Sisters is above that, and then Ironworks and Hemlock and all those are above that. I think it's
I can't tell if I'd
C
rather fight at Ironworks. I'm like struggling with my Ironworks.
Ironworks
pick.
is kind of cool. I don't know. Especially after the recent change with like the being able to rotate from one roof to the other. I really do enjoy Ironworks.
I just feel like the
wallbang ability in Ironworks is kind of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, what can the Boss Slayer team really do? Like they don't have any opportunities to really peek anything. There's not a single easy way. I don't know though,
because I've done some really cool plays with Ironworks, like going through those metal doors up on the balcony and like just peek, like aggro peeking out there to the roof of the other building.
Is it better though than Seven Sisters like peeks and getting aggro on the building?
Yeah, I think it is. Because I feel like everybody we fight in Seven Sisters is like a shotgun player, and pushing into Seven Sisters against the shotgun player, I feel like is harder than pushing into Ironworks against the shotgun player.
I don't know if
at least at Ironworks I can flip open those metal doors on the front and like try to do like a long peek into that from the other building kind of safely. Seven Sisters, you just kind of gotta like push right up on it and try
I like
to
that you can get up on the balcony of it and like kind of, because the whole thing's wood, so it's like I feel like you're able to, it makes getting a pick a lot easier, and then you can kind of capitalize on that. Like it's hard to get a pick in Ironworks because they have to really give you something, otherwise you have to just walk into a shotgun or something. Seven Sisters, you don't really have to do that. You can wall bang.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that I like Ironworks. I like playing Ironworks a little bit better than Seven Sisters, but they're kind of both.
I think they're very close.
Like,
yeah. Yeah, that's hard because you don't really have all the sniping issues with
Ironworks.
People at Ironworks. You just it's definitely a more close range fight, which is nice. Yeah, that's fair. I do think the Ironworks fights are more fun because I don't like fighting people that are just camping in that White House at Seven Sisters or
like out in that field all the way up
Yeah,
at the
that's hard.
tree. Like it's
You
really
get a
hard
lot
to
of
fight them.
lot of distance to cover.
Yeah. Or sitting in the hayfield or the cornfield, you can't do anything against them usually. All right. Slaughterhouse. Really good.
I'm a big fan of this place.
Really, really good. There's not a whole lot of drawbacks to Slaughterhouse, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
The only portion that I think is a little bit problematic is the area with the slide gate thing, like the gated area, and the
Gated
ladder.
area.
On the like if you're in the tree line,
Oh,
looking
yeah,
at the
yeah,
boss
yeah.
lair all the way to the right, like that is the only area that I feel is a little bit problematic.
There are
approaching
areas
it
to
from
jump
there.
right up that wall, which I didn't realize until we recently fought there. Like, you don't have to climb the ladder or go through the slider. You can just jump right over the wall from a couple things or whatever, which is cool.
Are you sure? From
Yeah.
the outside?
Yep, pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the other day somebody jumped up and looked, and we had a fight over it. Like, he was on that side and he jumped up and looked over.
I thought he got on the ladder and came up, but I don't know. I feel like
Maybe
that
when we
area
get there
just-
we'll look, because I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure.
I feel like that side just plays a little bit weird.
It's definitely
Like,
the worst side of Slaughterhouse, no question.
But I feel like Slaughterhouse in general is like very, very good.
I almost feel like it's better than Lock Bay.
Yeah.
Is it better than Poultry?
Yeah.
Probably, right? Yeah, okay. But I don't think it's
Yeah.
as good as Cat. Oh, is it better than Catfish? I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think it's almost as good as Ranch.
I was going to say, I think it's better than Lawson, too. I think I do like Ranch
Yeah.
better, because I think that the fights in there are really cool.
Yeah, but I think it...
Oh, is it, though?
I don't think it's better than Ranch.
Because Ranch, you've just got people... I mean, I'm thinking of the
Actually,
downsides
it's better
to
than Ranch.
It is,
Yeah,
right?
it's better than
Yeah.
Ranch, yeah.
Because, like, you got people sitting on that White House with a fucking Mosin or something, or...
Yeah, and you can't do anything.
No, Slaughterhouse is... You can kind of...
Capitalize on things easy.
You can work with everything.
It's not super far to rotate to wherever people are. Yeah. I don't think it's as good as Parish.
My Parish is lower.
Yeah, my Parish is... I don't think it's as good as Parish for me. I'd rather fight Parish, but I think Slaughter is very, very good.
Yeah,
I think it's
I agree.
a very good POI.
Stanley, I think, kind of falls in the same place as, like, Cypress and Graves.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, it's
I don't know if it's better than any of these.
I think it's worse, honestly. I'd put Stanley, like, low E.
I feel like Cypress is harder to siege than Stanley.
I don't agree. I feel like Stanley's really, really hard.
Yeah. I mean, Stanley's got that whole underground, not underground, that like basement stairwell that goes up and a catwalk on the front that you can kind of approach from that side.
Yeah.
And a door on the other side.
I feel like getting picks of opportunity at Stanley and then capitalizing on them are very hard.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Cypress is a little bit easier if you get like a pick of opportunity on somebody on the roof, because you can really hold them. Right?
Yeah,
like if they're on the
true.
roof, you can kind of hold them and then put pressure.
They're
Whereas
just gonna
Stanley,
get back up in Stanley.
you pick them through a window and then they're just right back up by the time you try to get there to like get in.
Yeah. And that
It's so
outer
hard to
part's
get
tough
into it.
to like fight people outside there.
Yeah.
It's really not easy in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's important, right? Like Heritage, if we get a pick of opportunity, we can put some pressure on them.
Yeah.
Salters, if we get a pick of opportunity, we can put pressure. Stanley, you have to like fucking run up a metal ramp or like climb up a ladder or vault up like it's really hard to do anything.
Yeah.
Because usually you're fighting like back at that big coal pile like building. And then you get a pick and then the only way to get there is to just fucking bum rush up that ramp to get in, and then they're usually res.
Yeah,
and
it's
usually
a really
you pick them
tough
on
place
like the
to
mid
attack.
floor, so then you get on the top floor and then they're sitting on the mid floor with shotguns on you.
Yeah, I think it falls at the bottom of V. I don't think it's quite as bad as... Well, is it? It's kind of pretty comparable to Shipyard and like these other ones.
I don't think I'd avoid Stanley at all costs, though.
You don't think so?
No. You know what? I almost feel like I moved Shipyard out of Avoid at all costs, like, and put it in E.
At
The
the end of
Shipyard's really, really bad, but it's not unplayable bad.
Yeah.
No, you don't want it staying where it is. Fuck it. And Stanley's gonna be like right above that in E.
I guess that's fair. I just don't know if I kind of feel like I almost enjoy some of our Shipyard fights more than I do Stanley's.
I feel like there's more to peek from in Stanley.
Yeah.
And there's more verticality in Stanley because you have like that other building you can get on top of, and
that's fair. And Shipyard, you're so restricted on what you can even do.
Yeah, and rotating out of it is fucking impossible. So I think it's
there. Stillwater. This one actually is a little difficult to rank because I do not like it at all. But
it's kind of fun.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like
so
the boss layer I don't like at all. I hate that it's underground, really difficult to attack if they don't want to give you an opportunity to pick them. I mean, that's really difficult to get in there. I don't dislike the fights up top in those buildings really at all.
Yeah,
I think those fights out there are fun.
Courtyard area. Yeah. I kind of put it. I think it's worse than mine, but better than E.
It's definitely better than E.
I feel like I'd rather fight Golden. I'd rather fight the mine, but I don't feel like I'd rather fight it like Ma or Salt.
I'm having a hard time because I don't know if I'd rather fight it Golden over mine. I like mine more than Golden. I think. Like the boss layer of Golden's significantly better, but I almost feel like the rock fights at mine are way more fun than our Golden fights.
I feel like sieging Golden is easier though.
No, it is. Yeah, I know it's a hard balance. I don't know what outweighs the other.
They're pretty like neck and neck of like kind of shitty, kind of good.
Yeah, and you think Stillwater would sit
below
mine?
Yeah,
it's equal. Yeah. It's almost more difficult to siege in terms of the boss layer than mine.
Yeah,
I mean that underground tunnel
but like
is a death trap.
The whole area above it is dope.
Totally viable. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it goes right under mine.
Yeah.
Sweet Bell.
Oh baby. Honestly, was a place I hated.
Yeah.
And it's grown on me a lot.
Yeah, it's
the
weird.
hard thing is getting control.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very, it almost has a Seven Sisters vibe where you don't really feel comfortable anywhere.
Yeah.
And because you're actually pretty exposed. Like, it's right in the middle of the map.
The only place that's really comfortable is the main boss layer.
Yeah.
Like if you're in there, you're kind of, I feel pretty comfortable that I'll fuck up anybody who tries to push me. But in the other building, you're never comfortable.
No.
In the top or the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
In the woods, you're not comfortable. In that surrounding area, like Lost Inside, you're never comfortable.
No, that's the side towards like Parish is almost unplayable.
But once you get control, even if they are in the main boss layer and you control everything else, like you killed everybody else,
that fight's fun.
And you're in the second building. That is one of the most fun fights I ever have. Yeah. Right, like trying to pick somebody in that main boss layer and like down that bridge. Like I love that. And the approach to Sweet Bell really isn't that bad from most angles.
It's like you do have to run through fields or whatever to get there, but it's all very well covered kind of on all sides other than
the only angle that's really bad is from like Parish. Yeah. I think
I can't decide if it sits in,
I think it's like
top of B or somewhere in A.
I don't know that I put it that high.
Really?
Yeah.
Looking at my C, I think I'd rather fight there than Ironworks and Seven Sisters and Alice.
Yeah, I think I'd put it a high C. Because
our B's a little different too. Do you have Docks in B? Lower de Saul's in B.
Low D or low B.
I think I'd rather fight Sweet Bell than Lower de Saul.
I wouldn't.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like you have more control in Lower de Saul and can rotate and get safe easier in lower. Whereas Sweet Bell is like if you're caught out there, you're done.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sweet Bell is a ton of fun to fight at, but I feel like the lack of control, if you lack that control, it is a miserable fight every time.
Yeah.
Whether you're in the woods, whether you're in that side building getting pushed by two teams plus the boss lair team, like that lack of control, it makes that kind of miserable to fight at a lot of the time. Especially whenever there's fucking meatheads outside of that courtyard area.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think for me, it's like probably like a high C.
I think I'm gonna put it.
Actually, it's like a mid C. I think it's like above Ironworks for me, but like below Hemlock and Allen's and Alice. I think I'd rather fight like all of those than Sweet Bell usually.
I don't know. I have a hard time with. I kind of think Sweet Bell. Well, no, maybe it's not better than Ironworks. But I do think it's better than Seven Sisters.
I think it's better than Ironworks for me.
You think so?
Yeah, because you get a lot more picks through windows and stuff at Sweet Bell, and like that long sight line inside to be able to look into the other boss lair. I feel like is better. But I definitely don't think it's like as good as like a Hemlock or Allen's or anything.
And where's your lumber? Is your lumber's low C?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's towards the top of my C. Which I'm actually gonna move one down.
We've been working on this tier list for like 2 hours, bro.
I know. This is what happens when you play this game every day and you have like so much, experience in each space. So I think Sweet Bell might split my Ironworks and lumber, because I do think I'd rather fight at Ironworks. I don't know if I'd rather fight at lumber than Sweet Bell. I think that both areas are a little difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Upper de Sol. This is kind of a hard one because I feel like aesthetically really cool.
Really cool, yeah. And honestly, fighting outside of it is really cool.
Really cool.
The boss lair is just... The boss lair aesthetically is dope too, but hard to siege, like really, really hard.
But we do, like, despite that, I feel like we do siege it pretty successfely 99% of the time.
Man.
And I don't know exactly why. It's not like we have to blow open a door or something, but we do, like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly not easy, but I don't know. I guess we have to just look at...
I like the fight, like... I like the fights on the in the buildings, like that white building, that has the upper window. I like that. I just don't like... I don't like the backside where that big, like, courtyard...
Yeah, I don't like that
channel
either.
area.
That's really
meathead.
hard.
There's really not a whole lot of ways in there, other than, like, jumping through that window. Or, like, going through the slide door in the bottom.
Yeah.
But that whole backside is, like, kind of just... like null and void for me. Like I never really try to go there.
I think it might land in my E.
Yeah, I think it's actually below pork, like Salter's pork.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's better than Heritage,
but yeah, not as good as Salter's.
Yeah.
All right, Weeping. Top of S tier.
Yeah. I agree.
Literally not a bad thing about that place, honestly. Like,
no,
everything's
not really.
Fantastic. There's a little too much water and not a ton of easy ways to approach from the water side, but usually we can even make that work if we push from there, right? Like because there's not a whole lot of people looking over to that water whenever you do approach from it, and there's kind of like a lot of natural cover from the buildings and everything that they don't even see you usually. It's just fantastic. Fucking nailed it.
Yeah, no, I love the fights there. I was honestly, I was a little torn because I really like the First Testimonial Church and the fights around
Yeah.
it, like almost equally as much. And I feel like
I feel like Weeping plays better though than Church.
yeah, it does a little. It's weird because I think that Church's layout is almost a little, not better, but you don't have a whole side that's just water that you can't really use.
Yeah.
It's like
but
you kind of can.
Weeping's like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's like there's enough natural cover with all the rocks around there that like there's no super long sight lines, except if you're like up at the White House looking back into the woods.
Yeah.
Playing off of the White House is fun. Playing in the woods side is fun. Playing in the side buildings fun. Playing in the boss lair is fun.
Yeah, that whole place is just a good time.
Yeah, there's nothing really terrible about it at all.
Yeah, I could agree with that. All right,
Windy.
Windy.
B. Maybe. Maybe C, actually. I'm actually thinking it's below Sweetbell for me.
You think?
Yeah. That big open field approach is horrible.
Yeah, it is.
The approach from prison is horrible. The approach from Parish is horrible. Honestly, the approach from fucking Hemlock isn't that good. Approaching that place is horrible from all angles.
Yeah.
And then unless you are in that side building, the side little barn, you're at a severe disadvantage everywhere you are, unless you're in the boss lair.
No, I could agree. I think Sweetball plays a little better. I think it's right under Sweetball for me.
I'd put Ironworks above it personally, but
I have Ironworks above Sweetball, so
okay, yeah, it's like it's fun. I like it if the fights go the way we want them to, but if we're like caught out and we can't get in those like if we're trying to siege that little building to then siege boss lair, and we're caught out outside of that little building, we're dead like every time.
Yeah, it's really hard. Wolf's Head.
Cool place though. Wolf's Head, I
think this is the coolest of the kind of forts or whatever you want to call it. Minus fort, the obviously karmic.
Yeah, like the
wooden like whatever. I think this one's pretty cool. I like fighting here. It's not necessarily the easiest to fight around it.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely a little difficult, but it is fun. I almost feel like it kind of lands somewhere in the middle. Like I'm looking at like my D and I have Reeker. I think it plays better than Reeker.
I think it plays better than CNA Lumber.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it plays better than Reynard Lumber, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it plays better than
that.
Windy and Seven Sisters. I think it.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's.
Do you think it plays better than Sweetbell?
No.
You don't think so?
I think Sweetbell plays a little bit better than it, but I think it's kind of solid. I don't think it's as good as like anything above Sweetbell for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I think it's pretty decent. Yeah, I think it's not as good as Sweetbell. I think it's like right in the middle.
Yeah.
There. Well, looking at my list, I don't feel like I have anything I need to change.
I'm looking through it.
I feel like we've been like really critical of everything in a good way, that like we can give a pretty unbiased opinion on them.
We've been very critical in a very like objective way, like really looking at it from all different angles and being really, really critical about places that we have a ton of fun playing in.
Yeah, like there's some that, you know, I would say are like one of my favorites, right? That I didn't rank as high as, you know, I would if I was being subjective about it, right? Like honestly, I'd probably put Chapel in like S tier if I was being subjective, but like objectively looking at it, Chapel isn't really that great.
Yeah, that whole attacking the boss layer
It's
down
good,
low is
but
really
it's
hard.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not amazing. And honestly, like lower to Saul, I feel like if I was looking at it subjectively, I would put it a lot lower than I
Yeah,
did. But
I would too.
objectively, it's pretty good. And honestly, like my avoid at all costs, I feel like are like not even because I just hate them, right? It's because there's something fundamentally wrong with them.
Have you? I didn't even rank those like within each other. I just threw it in there. Do you think we should like get more specific with them, like we did with the rest? Or do you think
I guess we can.
You layered them properly?
No, I didn't really. I just threw them all in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably put lumber. I'd probably put shipyard and lumber where I have them. I have them like shipyard then lumber.
The both prisons go into the back, right? For sure.
I think Scupper goes far back.
Really?
Actually, I think Pelican Island Prison is better than Nichols for sure.
I was almost about to say the opposite.
Nah,
I don't feel like you can fight
so
around
bad, man.
Pelican at all, whereas Nichols you can. We have fights out in the, especially with the new area and that little area with all the porta potties down there. I mean, we have fights around it pretty easily. Pelican, there's really nowhere to fight around it. It's a little awkward.
Yeah, but I feel like the fight in Pelican is a lot more fun, especially with that long peak.
Yeah, Nichols is way more complicated and harder to fight inside, but
yeah, hard to tell where people are. The audio isn't great in prison, in my opinion, in Nichols. Yeah. I don't feel like there's enough like being able to tell what floor somebody is in Nichols.
I almost feel like just solely because of how complicated it is inside, it almost makes it just too difficult to fight in. The simplicity of Pelican, even though maybe the outside's not quite as great.
But I think I'd put Scupper. Actually, I might put Scupper above Nichols, but below Pelican.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like that.
And I'm like really conflicted where to put pitching, because outside of pitching isn't that bad.
No, it's not horrible. It's not great, but it's not bad at all. I think it's better than.
I want to put it above Pelican.
Yeah, I mean, and you have lumber. You have lumber at the second, right?
Yeah. And then there's Fort.
You think Fort's better than pitching?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually think this list is like pretty solid. The only one that I'm like a little hesitant on is Reeker, but I feel like the reasons that we gave for Reeker are pretty solid.
I think they're pretty valid, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got some like pretty major layout problems.
Yeah, but I mean, I meant in terms of like how high I put Reeker.
Oh.
I think the peak spots make it better than like everything else we have below it, like the windows and everything.
I feel pretty good about it because I think with how difficult it is to fight there and how uncomfortable it is, I feel like it belongs under lumber.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, me too. I know we disagreed a little bit on some of these, but I think this is a pretty good list.
You would think we'd have like a lot more up in like A and S, but
yeah,
we were like hypercritical.
When you really get down to it, it's hard to, some of these you kind of have to put lower even if you don't want to.
Yeah,
because they just have some structural problems or something.
Yeah. All right.
I like it. I'm gonna save mine and
put
it in Discord probably.